Hi, I'm Ruth Conniff. I'm the political editor of the Progressive magazine, and I'm standing here in front of the Capitol building in Madison, Wisconsin, where our legislature has just finished its session. So here's what we got. We got $1.6 billion in cuts to our public schools. We got a repeal of our Healthy Youth Act, which set a standard for age-appropriate, accurate sex education for school children in Wisconsin. We got a $300 million increase in funding for unaccountable voucher schools in the state of Wisconsin. And we got a rollback of pay equity for women, as well as the ability of private health insurance companies to cover abortion. This was the legislative session that was supposed to be all about jobs, jobs, jobs. Well, it turns out it was actually all about sex, sex, sex. That and some cuts, major cuts to education. So how did all this happen? Why are we here in the state of Wisconsin decimating our public education system? You know, it's worth noting that Governor Walker has set the worst record in the nation for job creation. Between 2011 and 2012 in January, Wisconsin lost more jobs than any other state in the union. And that's during a time when the nation as a whole was adding jobs and the economy was on the rebound. Of the 5 states that actually lost jobs, Wisconsin was the worst, and we were 3 times worse than the next place state of Missouri. So jobs, 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 it wasn't. And meanwhile, here in Wisconsin, the nonprofit corporation that tries to bring jobs to Wisconsin, bring corporations here, the #1 thing that group promotes is our great public education system. You wouldn't realize it by listening to the school choice lobby, but in fact, Wisconsin has one of the top public education systems in the whole country. So we rank first for high school graduation rates. We are one of the 8 smartest states for ACT and SAT scores. We have the highest, most qualified teachers in terms of their professional education, and they score the highest in the nation. And yet, with this $1.6 billion in cuts, we are not only not creating jobs in Wisconsin, we are decimating one of the main things that attracts people to our state. Now, there was some good news in this legislative session, and that is that some of the worst ideas sponsored by ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, a group of corporations and Republican politicians who dream up boilerplate legislation for all the states, failed. And the reason that these ideas failed is because the constituents of some of the moderate Republican legislators here in Wisconsin objected so strenuously. 2 of these terrible ideas directly targeted public education in Wisconsin. One would have created the first statewide charter school district in the nation, taking money out of the public schools and putting it into a statewide charter school district largely to benefit a single for-profit corporation that would provide online learning instead of a real bricks and mortar school, and potentially causing many rural schools to close. The other piece of legislation that failed, or at least was put on the back burner, like the charter school district legislation, was a special ed voucher bill that would have taken special needs kids, and instead of giving them their federally guaranteed rights to a free, appropriate public education or a free education in a private school that meets their needs, it would have given them $13,500 to take their chances without any guarantee of the special services that they might require. Parents of special needs kids objected strenuously. Parents of kids all over Wisconsin objected strenuously to the charter bill, and both of those were put on the back burner, thanks to some moderate Republicans and Democrats who just couldn't face their constituents and say, we're going to take away your school. So that's the good news. Finally, there was a very controversial bill at the end of the legislative session here in Wisconsin on mining. And this bill was essentially drafted by a single out-of-state millionaire, the CEO of the GTAC mine, Bill Williams. It failed because moderate Republican Dale Schultz and Democrat Bob Jauch just didn't want to do away with the environmental protections and the public meetings process that usually are involved when you establish a mine. Bill Williams pulled his giant open-pit iron ore mine, his plan for that mine, out. It was going to be on the shores of Lake Superior. He decided to leave. There was a compromise bill that was put forward by Senators Schultz and Jauch saying, let's preserve some environmental protection, but still try to attract this mine. In a conference call with reporters, Governor Scott Walker said, no deal. We're not going to have any kind of compromise legislation. Governor Walker said, I've talked to the CEO of the GTAC mine, and he says he's compromised enough. So unless we get this specific rollback of these environmental rules and these open meetings rules, he won't bring his mine here. This is what the governor said out loud to reporters, not even pretending he wasn't just serving the interests of this corporate CEO. Bob Jauch's comment was, "I thought it was the governor of Wisconsin who had the veto pen, not the CEO of the GTAC mine." Apparently not. The outcome for Wisconsin is the same though, no jobs.